Ruin has found you at last. You can deny it no longer. Resent me all you want, but your obsession has brought about the end. Your ambition greatly outmatched your resolve. And now I find you here, a coward. All is not lost, however, for there is still hope. And now I pass it on to you. Take the flame and face your failures. Welcome to Darkest Dungeon 2. No, it's not the name of my basement. It's a game designed to demonstrate what it feels like to live in rural Risen. It's like the Dark Souls or roguelikes. Gather your team of 4 unlikely heroes, each with their own unique flavor of mental sickness, and embark on a journey to save the world, one abomination at a time. There's nothing a bit of luck and a lot of violence can't fix. Just be prepared to die a lot. Death is a guarantee, and so are taxes. You can only dodge them for so long, although for a game with dungeon in the title, there's a distinct lack of any present.
Between semesters, we would spend our days rambling the woods, talking excitedly of esoteric theory and ancient mysteries.
Welcome to the Shroud. Don't talk to the locals. It's a town that decided to worship the sea a bit too intensely. We just have to drive by without falling for any tourist traps. This is your stagecoach. Name it whatever you want, and welcome to the inn. Before each region, you can kit out your stagecoach with various thingamabobs and doohickeys to aid you. Pets are allowed, of course. Don't worry, it don't bite. While you and your heroes rest, engage in some shopping, improve your hero skills, give your heroes various substances, and select which hell you want to go to next. You can even hire some help. Of course, there is the option to run away safely. I won't judge too harshly. Once on the road, there will be plenty of encounters that will help or hinder your progress. Some roads offer smooth passage to the next node, the rest are out to kill you. Your stagecoach has wheel durability and armor strength. Should either receive damage while depleted, and you'll have to repair them while under siege. There's also the loathing. The greater the loathing, the faster the flame train, and the stronger the enemies. The only way to decrease it is through combat encounters. Max it out, and it'll reset in exchange for a buff to the final boss. Then there's the flame. Starting at 100, it will decrease as you travel, or through you rejecting God's teachings, treat others how you expect to be treated. And I want to be stepped on. A bright flame grants you the advantage, and a dimmer flame grants the enemy the advantage. Keep the flame burning through helping the innocent and sacrificing the guilty. As for the nodes themselves, there's quite a few, so assistance encounter. Help them or help yourself. Pick whichever benefits you the most. Resistance encounters. Fight or flight. That is if you're given the option in the first place. You'll be rewarded with money and items if you win, and death if you lose. Cultist encounter. Like resistance encounters, but with cultists. You earn more money and stronger items if you win. Beating cultists is the only way to earn cultist trinkets. Some of them are good, most extremely niche. Creature den. Like resistance encounters, but with creatures. I don't know what use the inn gets from these remains, but the compensation's good. Hero Shrine. Learn stories of and gain skills for a hero. Will only show up if a party member hasn't unlocked all their skills. Watchtower. Reveal everything that's ahead of you, just so you know how fucked you are. Academic study. Interact with the objects here at your own risk. For the low price of your sanity, you can gain immense power. Keyword here being can. Oasis. Concentrated gamer girl bathwater. No wonder why it hasn't been destroyed yet. Use it now or bother some up for the road. Hoarder. No point having money if you ain't gonna spend it. There's a good chance of me selling some really strong equipment. How we got them though? Best not to ask. Hospital. Healthcare that doesn't cost a small fortune for some pills. Heal heroes, cure diseases, and remove or retain quirks. You can even buy supplies as well, just don't question their methods. And finally, the lair, where the big boss lies. You'll need to kill at least one lair boss and keep a trophy to reach the final boss. The mountain only accepts those from the Stigma Nation. Of course, clearing out a lair is no easy task. It's like clearing out a dungeon. Still isn't a dungeon though. These are the fisherfolk, and a direct result of global warming. I'm not kidding, the sea levels rose, and they started asking King Neptune for help. Ah yes, we'll ask the King of the Sea, who will benefit the most from rising sea levels, to stop the sea levels from rising. How'd that work out? They specialize in displacing and gutting your team alive. Most of them are annoying to fight. Some are really annoying to fight. It doesn't help that this damn fog keeps rolling in. Though, maybe it isn't a bad thing these guys worship the ocean. It means they won't mind sleeping with the fishes. Oh hey look, it's your mum! This is the Leviathan, god of the sea. The main goal is to beat up Squidward through any means necessary. In its first phase, it rips the fattest vape known to man, crippling your heroes and marking 2 of them. Then the second phase begins. One of the marked heroes will immediately be dragged beneath the waves. To free them, break their wrists. Just don't take too long, we haven't learned how to breathe underwater. As for the other marked hero, they will be constantly battered by the hand. This, alongside the bleeding, is one hell of a trip to SeaWorld. I just wanted to see the penguins. I didn't sign up for a gauntlet with God.
I understood your eagerness to build a reputation, and it pained me greatly to hold you back.
Welcome to the Foetor. It smells as bad as it looks. A farm turned animal farm after everyone ate more than they could chew. All bark, all bite. They have more mouths than they do sense. There's only one thing they have in common with us. We're both fighting for our lives. We just have to beat them before they, eat us. At the start of each fight, there's a chance for the enemy to have the advantage, providing them with a buff, or your party a debuff. Turn order is decided by the speed of each unit. When it's a hero's turn, select a skill, and a valid target, and then pray RNGesus is by your side. Most skills have a range of damage it can deal, so sometimes winning is literally left to a dice roll. However, like all gamblers, we're here to win big. Most skills have a chance to crit, making the numbers bigger, including any DOT or debuffs. Just make sure everyone's standing where they should be. Each skill can only be used in certain ranks, and you don't want to be left with no options. Every unit has their own resistance to each status effect, so keep this in mind, as a creature who's done nothing but eat others isn't going to be very susceptible to blight. Debuffs and buffs to a unit will appear here. Other effects manifest as tokens. As for what they mean, well, here. I'm not reading them all out. And then there's Death's Door. You know how I mentioned winning is decided by a dice roll? Now your life is. If a unit has death resistance, they'll hit Death's Door once at 0 HP, weakening them. Any amount of healing will bring them out of it. For heroes, the next instant of damage, either direct or from DOT, has a chance to kill that unit based on this resistance. Enemies work on a token system, with received damage at 0 HP, removing a token. The number of tokens can vary, but once they're all gone, they're gone. Health isn't the only thing you have to worry about. Like all workplaces, you have to manage the stress of your employees. I mean, you could choose to ignore it, but I'm pretty sure you'll face a major backlash down the line. Stress can be applied or removed actively, via skills or certain attacks, or passively, through certain quirks, the horror, or while traveling. Once it maxes out, a hero's resolve will be tested. We are so back, or it's over. All up to RNG. Though I wouldn't exactly call it a 50-50. Sometimes you'll need an act of God to get through a fight, but we can't expect God to do all the work. These are the Plague Eaters. Consider me fatphobic. When the world came to an end, instead of rationing the food and holding out, they decided to engage in the world's largest mukbang. As expected, they sold out the local KFC, so not to break their upload schedule, they made a mukbang out of each other. Due to the constant consumption of rotten flesh, they're highly resistant to blight, and are quite willing to season you before consumption. They're also willing to consume and tongue their own to gain an advantage. Why is it always the rich people with weird kinks? Eat the rich. Nah, these guys eat the poor as well. Maybe the vegans were onto something. Eat your vegetables, kids, unless you want to become one. This is the Harvest Child, a hard mutation of a TikTok baby. What the fuck is a skibbity toilet? You look like you need to be flushed down the toilet. Like all good parents, we need to beat the child into submission. Each round it will move towards the front, so make sure you keep a good distance away from it, unless you want to be used for teething. Just avoid the meat piles. They taste as bad as they look. Applying a debuff that forces the hero to move forward and eat the finest of British cuisine. You could get rid of them, but that allows the child to reach the front more often. Best just put up with the poor food hygiene. Seriously, who let them cook? This shit's fucking raw. Hey, welcome back to Hell's Kitchen. Today we'll be toasting a toddler alive.
There remains a foothold out of this mine. Now climb.
Welcome to the Sluice. It smells as bad as it looks. Hold on, I think we took the wrong turn somewhere. Unmapped and unfriendly, the Sluice is home to the swine folk. The result of some rich guy and a manor's weird obsession. Fighting the mentally dead, morally dead, and soon-to-be dead locals would get too repetitive and maybe too easy after a while. Which is why if you're lucky, or unlucky enough, you'll be greeted with something or someone that will help you join the dead. The Antiquitarian's back, and she's after your shit. Doesn't matter if you worked with her in the past. She's a material girl. Joined by a group of pillagers, she'll force them to guard her, while pestering your team with blatant debuffs. If you wanted them so badly, you could have just asked. Take them. Point you in first.
Bravo!
Is that her dying or disappearing? Doesn't matter. Next time, bring more gun. Ah! Gun. The implication is back, completely autonomous this time. A machine can't burn, blight, or bleed, so some reverse engineering is required. The further back the cannon, the more it will hit, and it hits hard, if it hits at all. It does take 2 turns to attack, so you'll have plenty of time to bring it closer to the scrap heap. Now, as long as nothing supernatural happens, this should be easy. The Shambler's back. I love signing my own death warrants. It can also appear on the road though, so don't get too comfy. What's interesting is that the Shambler itself isn't that threatening, just another big boy with some DOT. What's really threatening are the tentacled tentais it spawns. While not dangerous at first, the longer they're on the field, the stronger they will become. Just deal with them quickly, or you'll be left in shambles. Haha, not even close. Man, we knocked on death's door so many times I'm surprised she didn't show up herself. My hubris. This is death. Yup, death. I'm not speaking metaphorically, rhetorically, poetically, theoretically, or in any other way. This is death. Straight up. She'll only appear after a fight is finished, so I hope you aren't at her door, because it just opened. She does move around a lot and has some high resistances, making her notably harder to damage. However, if I've learned anything, no one escapes death. Not even death herself. Oh man, we're gonna need a medic after that one. Wait, You're not my regular surgeon. This is the chirurgeon. Meet it at its table. For the low price of your health bar, he'll remove any illnesses from a hero. I hope you're not squeamish. The treatment involves a lot of bloodletting. He even provides this treatment to his allies, although they get a special membership bonus. Never trust back alley doctors. I'm not exactly fond of sharing needles. These battles were hard fought, but with the power of friendship, the only thing that could defeat us would be ourselves. The Collector is back. Talk about a headache. This king will only show up if you have a trophy, and wants to add it and our heads to its collection. So it'll summon, your heads to fight. Specifically these three. They'll support each other and the Collector while crippling you, and their combos are just as deadly as ours. Even if you kill them, they'll keep coming back. The only way to stop them is to kill the king. I'm sorry, but no head for you.
Some total of violent equations, unfavorably rounded down. As the night wore on, circles were drawn carefully in chalk, and salt was laid upon the floor. This was not research, it was ritual, and I could not stifle my repulsion.
Welcome to the Sprawl, where instead of being carbon negative, we prefer being carbon positive. They must have built this city on rock and roll, cause this is fire. Watch yourself around these ends, blood, cause these roadmen won't hesitate to chef you up. Good thing we've got some men and women on the road ourselves. These are our heroes, though using that word is generous. They aren't your typical branch of do-gooders, nor are they on par with the boys. Some are out for redemption, to serve a cause, or just for the fun of it. The grave robber, gold digger, in a literal sense. She killed her abusive rich husband for his money, only to blow all of it with some terrible spending habits. When the coffers dried up, she dug her husband's coffin right up, and all the valuables that lay with it. But no material gain will be as enjoyable as stealing from the dead. The plague doctor. Didn't anyone tell you not to play God? Top of the class, but ridiculed by her peers, she destroyed her lecturer with facts and knowledge so hard he died. To make the most of the 9k a year, she used his corpse for research and brought him back to life, only to kill him again. Do that one more time and I'm pretty sure that's a domination. The highwayman. It's payday, fellas. Breaking out of prison? Easy. Getting a stable job with the insane requirements these days? Not so much. Good thing nothing is better than some dishonest work. One more heist, they said. It'll be easy, they said. To be fair, it was. Killing cops, it's fine, they deserve it. But civilians aren't acceptable casualties. The man at arms. All brawn, no brains. Shouldn't have listened to his call-outs. Worst IGL ever. He keeps one eye open when he's sleeping, because that's the only eye he has left. The only way he made peace with his failures was to fight his demons, and now he'll help you fight yours as well. The Hellion, it was simply a difference in skill. Sometimes no amount of practice can prepare you for the real deal. Upon seeing her comrades vested by the better boys in blue, she, ran away like a bitch. She was ready to die a hero, but only ended up living as a coward. Now she fights not to prove her worth to others, but herself. The runaway, fire burns. Dumbass. Being an orphan is bad enough, no need to add fuel to the fire. Good thing this wildfire was tempered by a kind couple in the woods. Unfortunately, all that punishment from the sisters left her with a peculiar fondness for the flames. As it turns out, fire doesn't make a good toy, losing her parents again to a burning home. That's like orphan squared. Double the character development. The Jester. We truly live in a society. He literally went on his Joker arc. A skilled street performer turned one-time jester for the royal court after stealing some samples from questionable sources. Please keep in mind, the material rich are mentally poor, and mocked him for his performance, and so they got what they deserved. A finale. Death by hard rock. The leper. Disregard my previous statements about the rich, for this is a true king, loved by the people. His body was rapidly weakening from leprosy, and so he decided to leave his kingdom early, not allowing his people to watch him suffer. He just first needed to take care of some internal corruption. The old-fashioned way. The occultist. Well, if it isn't horrors beyond human comprehension. Morality isn't exactly a high priority when gaining immense power. Burr had to lock in. Facts don't care about your feelings, and neither do entities from outer space. Though, it's a bit unfair. You get the power of a cosmic monster, and all your followers get some serious sunburn. By the way, there are now voices in your head. The Vestal. Never trust the overly religious. She got caught lacking by the Advent and was locked up and tortured for her sacrilege. Fortunately, the light took her side and she broke out of her unjust imprisonment, only to find her sisters barricaded in their rooms, left to die. Look, I know one bad apple ruins the bunch, but I'm pretty sure that's not how you make wine. The flagellant, weaponized masochism. No, seriously, he brought himself to death's door, quite literally, because of his love for self-harm, and when death herself came to reap her harvest, he fought her and won, just to continue enjoying his suffering. If anything, I admire the dedication. The bounty hunter just wants to get paid. I have no clue what he uses these candles for. And then there's these two, but that's DLC. Do later content. Each hero has 3 paths, which can radically change how they play, from a strong side grade to situational at best. There are simpler changes, making some skills stronger and others weaker, and then there are the ones that completely change how some skills work. Just remember to switch up the skills when the situation calls for it. Having bad options is better than having no options. Do remember to account for relationships in the workplace. On your journey, hero relationships will change based on their actions and what you select. At best, a bond will be formed, and the 2 heroes will aid each other in battle. At worst, betrayal and backstabbing, and forcing you to use skills you don't even want. Seriously, this fight's hard enough already. These are the fanatics. No, I won't listen to your mixtape. As the end approached, instead of rationally fortifying the cities to be safe, they set everything on fire, including each other. Why? Arson's fun. I can be trusted with a flamethrower, and you and your wooden stagecoach would make great fuel for the flames. They will set you ablaze, no matter the sacrifice. At least burning is a cleaner way of utilizing your allies. These riots have really gotten out of hand. Peaceful protest? No. I prefer more persuasive actions. Just stop oil members when I just stop them from existing. You'll never guess who's in Paris. I'd say this is terrorism, but there isn't anyone left to terrorize. This is the librarian, book burner incarnate. The only text I care about is my name in the kill feed. I ain't reading all of that, and neither is he. Each turn he'll light up some literature and then shower you with script smokes and cinders. Just make sure he doesn't reach the front. We interrupted quiet reading time. Once he's consumed all the literature, he'll become an academic weapon. That weapon being napalm. Will suffer burnout before he does. He may not be the most studious one here, but he's definitely become the sturdiest one here, for those moves are fire.
At last, respite within reach. At night, I could hear you shuffling about the house, muttering with diabolic intent.
Welcome to the Tangle. Don't worry, they're not in the trees. I hope nothing whimsical happens here. The soldiers rest here eternally, waiting for a campaign that will never start. Personally, I prefer the multiplayer. You're going to fail. There's a reason they showed us text on launch. With each failure comes a lesson, and hopium. These candles of hope can be spent at the altar of hope to make the next expedition easier. Get more shit, upgrade your kit, and acquire some drip. The further you go, the more candles you get, and the more you can buy. Don't worry, even though it's the end of the world, the economy is remarkably stable. Once you've bought everything, you can divert your spending to gambling, be it items or quirks, alongside a bit of bartering. When you complete an expedition, all surviving heroes will retain their paths and quirks, good and bad, but only if you've granted them long-term memory. They also keep their diseases. Apparently all of these are mental disorders. You can induce amnesia if you need to. Still getting crushed? Take the Radiant Flame, providing buffs at the cost of candles. But if you really want to challenge yourself, take an Infernal Flame. You get a buff, they get a buff, everyone gets a buff. Although, it's not a fair trade. You get as many debuffs as they get buffs. You thought the Shambler fight was hard, with these minor debuffs. Well, have fun fighting it when your only sources of damage provide them buffs. I'm not in Shambles, I'm in Omni Shambles. Really? Now all that matters is you make it to the mountain. Plan your course carefully, or just go with whatever the people want. So long as you make it to the end, it doesn't matter. If a hero dies, keep fighting, make it to the end and someone else will take their place, and you will be compensated for the fallen. Perish before you're at the mountain and wave goodbye to most of the candles you've earned. Only at the peak is failure tolerated, which is kind of odd since we're supposed to overcome our failures, not just show up and leave. So what do you do once you've done everything? You do it again. There's going to be something new. If you couldn't tell, a lot of this footage is kinda old. Most of it was recorded before the update that changed Death's Door. The only reason this video took so long is because I'm lazy. Since then, there's been the DLC I haven't bought yet, and a bunch of changes and additions. There's even a new free game mode coming out with 3 new factions and a whole lot more pain. This copy of Helldivers looks weird. Remember, freedom requires sacrifice. Sometimes it's us, but it's definitely them. This is the Lost Battalion. They are one with the trees. And now they're here to break my fucking knees. They waited so long to fight the cultists that nature had overgrown around and on them. They wanted to fight to the death, so might as well give it to them. I almost feel bad for them. Almost. They still function like an army, with soldiers and swords to bleed you out. Though I've never seen a bishop in the military. Shadow Wizard Money Gang, we love casting spells. Joke's on them, I've read The Art of War. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. Well, the enemy has swords, and I have a gun. Pretty sure you can't parry 45. This is the Dreaming General. Boy, no sleeping on the job. Kind of impressive how there's an entire tree inside him and he's still moving. Barely. This is some serious sleep paralysis. Every round, the roots will grow around 2 heroes. Once fully grown, they will strangle them and force them to make some horrible takes on Twitter, stressing everyone out. Make sure everyone doesn't get strangled. It's a nightmare. The only way to prevent this is to hit the tree. Don't think the Lorax will be happy about this one. Yeah, he definitely isn't. You just have to put the old man to bed while dealing with all of that. Maybe the fanatics were onto something. Steel and grass types are weak to fire. Time to put this suffering soul to sleep. Good night.
The wind blew sour. The oceans roiled. The earth shuddered at the coming change.
Welcome to the mountain. Looks like hell froze over. You traveled far and fought hard. Your journey's almost over. At the very top lies your failures. Getting there won't be without contest, however. There are many that worship the Iron Crown. These are the cultists, source of the spreading stain. You'll find them everywhere, whether you want to or not. They are guaranteed, and so is their damage. Be it battering or withering you away, you better have some good health care. At the bottom of the hierarchy are these 4. The Altar, Cherub, and Herald are focused on support, buffing other cultists and crippling your team, while the Evangelist empties your arteries. The Altar will provide a special buff based on which failure you're facing, making them even more of a pain. Then there's the higher ranking Cardinal and Deacon. The previous 4 will be able to worship them, healing them and enabling them to really bring the axe down. The Cardinal specializes in disrupting the entire team, shuffling them while dealing high stress and DOT to individuals. The Deacon is its counterpart, manipulating its own flesh to take less damage, while dealing immense single target destruction. I understand why the Lost Battalion were defeated by these monsters. Any amount of healing is a blessing here. All this worshipping, however, hasn't granted them immortality. If it bleeds, we can kill it. Deal with the lesser cultists as fast as you can, then watch as giants fall. Or, if you're really confident, kill the big guy before they get the chance to receive their twisted blessings. It doesn't matter, as long as they're fucking dead. This is the exemplar, ender of runs. If it isn't man-made horrors beyond my comprehension. If you wanted to fight a one-man army, here it is. Though, I wouldn't exactly call this a man. It will sacrifice its own worshippers to get stronger, and then pummel you with a 1-2 combo to get stronger still. Blindness and dodges are your saving grace here. Whatever you do, make sure it doesn't gain 2 worship tokens. You thought its normal attacks were pain with the constant blight, high damage and stress? Have fun with it summoning another cultist to begin the strengthening cycle anew. I don't care what you do, I don't care how long it takes or what you have to sacrifice. Kill it. Kill it now. Kill them. Kill them all.
The Nightmare Gate is revealed. Beyond, only infernal nihility and non-existence.
You didn't accept being wrong, and now you can't accept being correct. The shackles of denial. This ain't no gold chain. For your mental health, avoid acupuncture to the brain. At the start of each round, one of these locks will prevent your party from performing certain actions. No range attacks, no melee attacks, no de-stressing, no healing. Breaking these locks is the only way to stop this short-term memory loss. Don't worry, I'm pretty sure these are from Master Lock. Some kinetic energy is all you need. Though, there is an order you want to break these. First, the healing one. Not just because you'll need the healing. Each lock on death will buff the others, and the healing lock, well, I'm sure you can guess. Then break the ranged or melee lock. Prioritize the one stopping you from doing the most damage. Their attack and crit buffs are deadly, but so are ours. Then dismantle the stress lock. At some point, one of your heroes can literally do nothing. Don't know why they're stressing out about it. I, for one, enjoy doing nothing. No thoughts. Head emptied.
At last, the world's mind is free to remember a time before the cancerous corruption.
You hated me for holding you back, and now you hate yourself for not listening. The seething sigh, lungs ready to spew profanities, the manifestation of all resentment found in old COD lobbies. At the start of each round, it takes a breath. If you fail to knock the air out of it, hope you enjoy some secondhand lung damage. Break the windpipe, and you won't have to deal with the ashy smoke anymore. Or at least that's what you're supposed to do. I completely forgot to bring any strong range damage. My occultist died earlier, my plague doctor is melee focused, and my grave robber only has poison darts. These lungs can't be poisoned, but the main body can. Hold your breath. Love isn't in the air, it's carbon monoxide. Plan to perform some CPR, cardiopulmonary removal.
Your fault was not in burying your furies, but in thinking they would accept such a fate.
Guys, fight's over. You can calm down. We already dealt with one embodiment of resentment, and I don't want to have to deal with another. You were so focused on being right, and you never thought about doing right. That's a lot of eyes. Talk about holding a captive audience, though I'm the only one being held captive here. The setup for this fight is rather easy, just get all the eyes to focus on one person, preferably a tank. Then gouge out all the eyes. You could also avoid getting hit completely and rush them down. They will grow back if you don't completely burst them, so focus one down at a time. Or at least that's what you're supposed to do. I let the eyes focus on my entire team. This fight's gonna be a real eyesore to watch. The focus fault stares into the abyss, and this stares back. Its current obsession, wiping you out. Every hero with a scene token will be hit with its limerence, and, well, that's a lot of damage. But fret not, we took a lot of drugs before the fight. Smoking on that eyeball pack, you will not be missed.
This is no time to falter. Once again, teetering on that terror.
Looks like all my teammates have died. The previous 4v4 was fair, so let's balance out the playing field one more time. 1v1. Man at arms? No, more like a man that harms.
Obsession blinded you to your blessings and smothered you in a fever dream of dissatisfaction.
The guy with one eye swallowed the million-eyed monster. Huh. You were ready to sacrifice everything, and never thought about anyone else. The Ravenous Reach hits a more hands-on approach. It probably sucked to play rock, paper, scissors against it. Alright, round 1. It keeps using rock and launches the hero at the front to the back. Try to keep your tank at the front as much as possible. Sticks and stones do in fact break bones, and they keep getting sharper. Round 2. I think this is scissors. It's cutting open wounds. It'll mark 2 heroes with contempt, and then attempt to bleed those heroes out. You'd think hitting a target this big would be easy, but no. Remember, don't run with scissors. Dodge with them. Finally, round 3. It must be paper. I'm getting cuts just touching it. It'll give itself riposte tokens and throw hands at the entire team. Either tank the damage or cleanse the buffs. I don't have much of a choice though. Rock, paper, scissors? Shoot.
Everything you wanted.
And now I find you, no, myself, here.
I remember our first meeting on the steps of the university. You were golden, lit from within by the glow of potential. Finally, my friend, I would see that potential realized. It is time to reclaim the world from your weakness. Meet your derelictions with blazing defiance. The equation must be balanced. Gaze now upon your great achievement. The sum total of your failings, your body of work.
Behold, your body of work, your greatest achievement, the sum total of all your failures. First up, the gut of the coward. That's some serious indigestion. It'll mark 2 heroes with gastric juices, constantly blighting them, while pestering your team with even more blight. After it is the infernal gaze. I swear I fought you already. A combination of the focus fault and ravenous reach. It'll mark a hero for death, while robbing them blind. It also works a bit like the seething sigh. Deal enough damage and it won't hit you with its strongest attack, though it still hits hard. Oh, and while you're fighting these two, watch out for the hand. No nuance is needed here though, just hit them, and hit them hard. The Hateful God. Time to face your failures. Accompanied by 2 proclaimers, this is what stands between you and victory. Just like the shackles of denial, each hero will be blocked from certain actions. It's on a cycle though, so you can play around it. 999 health does seem daunting, but we have methods to subjugate this evil. First, kill its underlings, and do it quickly before it can conjure more. Then, pick a hero. It's their turn to face their failure. A 1v1, no help from others allowed. Win the mind game and strike with exaltation. You brought the end of the world, now it's time to bring it back. Redeem yourself. Right your wrongs. Bring light back to the people. For in Radiance, may we find victory.
Spring anew from the memory you kept of it. Your confession is complete. The cosmic axes are aligned once more. Forgive yourself. Humanity is a weak hypothesis, after all. An unbalanced equation, an imperfect angle. We sow the seeds of our ruin and seek to deny its reckoning. We make mountains of our mistakes, monsters of our misdeeds. We slip and stumble, we fail and we falter. And yet, in each of us, a hopeful light. Holding fast against the hellish shadows that gather between our good intentions. And in each of us, a limitless emptiness. Of a darkest dungeon.
Holy shit, title drop.
If there's a way